Next to mine, one of the best looking, except for me, debater in the world, and some say in Mars, the co-CA of Mexico Worlds at the end of the year. He was once ranked the second best team in the world and the national champion many times, right? Yes, Malaysia, Mr. Mifzal Muhammad. He came to Macau once and he won everything from us. He was the winner of the East Asia round robin. He was also the best speaker in the grand final, so I think he made about $3,000 that day. And now he's back to get one more thousand from us. In the extreme left, I knew when he was a small sperm. I know his father is Omar Salahuddin. He was just a kid of 9, but he went on to become the ABB champion of Asia. And now he's working as a slave for mine in Korea, also as a debate professional. The second best looking debater in the world, Rafiq Salahuddin. And the name is very appropriate because Rafiq is not the most punctual person. Now let me introduce the panel of judges. On my extreme is Caretakers from Thailand. Our VCA and the person who put together all these beautiful slides and video, and also bought a lot of parts for the independent judges. Next to him is Mr. Andrew Him from Scotland, ex-world champion and CA of some world. He refused to tell me. Then we have Professor Joseph Park from America, Korea, and now teaching in Cambridge University. Next to him is my student. That's all to say, my student, George Chen. Next to him is Miss Tiffany Sloan Cho from Shanghai. And then in the middle is Fanny Sloan-Tich from Burma University and now teaching at Beihang University. And in the middle here, Miss Deborah Woon from University of Malaya. And now marketing executive, and we have Charles D. Ballon, correct? A law graduate. What are you doing now?
Studying.
Oh, still studying, okay. And let me do the CTEP, our ECA from IU, the current Malaysian Debate Champion Open, Champion of Malaysian Debate Open. And we have Jesus of Nashua. Thank you for coming down from heaven to council. Our chair is Miss Rebecca Aquino Panga from the University, one of the best debaters, one of the top debater of the national in China. And now, let me pass the time to Rebecca to start the debate. Can everyone hear me? There was once when a respected atheist, I think it was Sam Harris, was asked, if you could see God, what would you ask him? What would you tell him? And Sam Harris said, how dare you? How dare you place so many people in suffering and place so many people in darkness? We think that if God exists, He is responsible for the abuse perpetrated by religious institutions and the suffering in the world. If He had fewer sycophants or fewer people who believed in Him because He was known to be true, that would be a good thing for morality and a good thing for the world. What is our stance? First of all, as a respected atheist, like I know that
practical proof or an ontological proof. It does not specify in particular which religion's God actually turned out to be true. So people generally may not have a good idea of which religion's God is true. So we think that, for example, we won't wager on which religion is definitely correct, but generally speaking, even though we're not sure what kind of God specifically we're talking about, we think that he or she probably has a number of characteristics. First of all, we think the God we're talking about is probably monotheistic, probably omnipotent, omniscient, at least with some very powerful specific powers, and probably some anthropomorphic characteristics like the ability to feel rage, the ability to feel anger, and pain, and so on. Obviously, this God, by hypothesis, cannot be the definition of morality, because then this notion becomes almost tautological. So we think that all qualifier, we think that this proof has to be immediately persuasive, such that anyone who sees this proof cannot, or will face huge difficulty in doubting the existence of God. We're going to forward two arguments. Firstly, that this undermines human moral agency, and secondly, that any God that exists is not worthy of adulation that may come with revealing their existence. Yes?
An irrefutable proof of an entire entity that was so overwhelmingly powerful surely must be more substantive than just mathematical equations or ontological arguments. Can you just please illustrate what kind of more substantive proof? Because then the debate can't come.
Yeah, sure. Like Christopher Hitchens told me, Daniel Dennett may find that in the laws of logic, God must exist. The Ark of the Covenant may be revealed to Sam Harris in his kitchen. We don't really care, but generally speaking, the proof is immediately persuasive, and we think that it persuade a large number of people across the world that this particular God, even though it's not clear which God it is necessarily existent. So, firstly, that this undermines people's moral agency. We think that, like, a professional atheist should have certain moral duties. In particular, they have a duty to morality and what helps people, given that they've committed their entire lives to finding out what is morally true. We think that this duty to morality and what helps people trumps their ability or their moral responsibility or their moral obligation to be honest 100% of the time. Just look at how, for example, Schindler, lying about Jews in his basement, is justified because it prevents them from abuse. Likewise, we think it's morally permissible to lie to people if it results in better outcomes and better consequences for them. What are the harms of revealing the existence of God? First of all, it leads to religious abuse because you strengthen religious authority. So, first of all, if God exists, the religious texts that exist are almost certainly not representative of what God actually believes. Like, for example, what is in the New Testament was decided in the Council of Nicaea, people who had no special intercession with God. For example, parts of the King James Version of the Bible were rewritten in particular to reinforce feudal norms of what was acceptable in societies at that time. So it's clear that religious authorities and religious abuse will continue to occur. Moreover, we think that religion and organized religion itself is often used as a way to justify existing power structures. Just like religion is inherently change-averse, because organized religions need to have a special claim to be different from other forms of morality or other conventional beliefs. Therefore, they continually rely on conservative power structures and texts that already exist and were misappropriated by them to justify their abuses. Moreover, we think that many religious leaders have vested interest in conservative norms that keep them in power. Like, for example, the fact that all Catholic priests need to be male. So, what happens when you reveal the existence of God to the world is that you turn more people towards these religious structures and you strengthen these oppressive religious institutions and the power they have to shape social narratives and the ability they have to oppress many different people. Just look at how the Catholic Church managed to cover up the abuse of boys for many, many years by saying that God forgave the priests involved. How much worse could it be if they could do this under the veil and under the guidance or under the aegis of an actual God that was proven to exist? So thank you. I think the second harm is that often people have a cognitive bias that what they formally believe is true. As a consequence, revealing the existence of a God indubitably reaffirms all prior religious beliefs in a way that they were not affirmed before. This strengthens religious conflict because it turns more people towards religions in which they prior believed in. And this worsens antagonism between different religions, possibly leading to religious conflict. I think the harms of this are quite obvious. Third, even if we had perfect access to morality, that is to say that even if God had perfect access to morality and this morality was laid out in a code of conduct, we think that this morality is pretty meaningless and it's not clear why more people abiding by it is a good thing. So either something is morally right because God says so, in which case morality is meaningless and arbitrary and there's no reason why we should choose God's version of morality, or God derives morality from a higher standard or higher code of conduct, in which case God is unnecessary and perhaps even unrepresentative as an intercessor with this code of conduct that exists metaphysically. As a consequence, within the God paradox means that it's meaningless for us to believe and stake our claim that God may have a unique claim to morality. No, thank you. Last of all, we get a last harm is that it destroys new atheism. It deals the final blow to the likes of Richard Dawkins. And we think this is harmful because often new atheists, from the perspective of a professed atheist as well, have a vital social role in checking the excesses of religious institutions. These views are independent of the existence of God, but they're come together and discredited the moment God is proven to be true. So, as from the perspective of a militant atheist, obviously it's a bad idea to do this. Secondly, why is it that God is not worthy God is actually omnipotent, and if he is benevolent, then the question arises why he made people the capacity to commit evil. The best response that we have heard and we expect is that, well, God created people with free will. But this also begs the second question, which is that God would actually design organisms with other that tend to only do good, organisms that don't feel pain. Like, for example, an organism that fantasizes about doing a bad thing, but eventually doesn't do it. The fact that he chose not to do this and chose to introduce evil into this world suggests that God is in some way malevolent. So, we think that this is problematic because there's no reason why we should introduce a greater set of followers or a greater set of sycophants into someone who follows and hears it, a God which is so fundamentally evil and has done these terrible things to the world and has created a world in which human beings are fundamentally flawed and are suffering. Secondly, the problem of pain. So, we think that it's incredibly strange and morally conflicting and flawed that there is a God which lets natural disasters and floods kill people in Africa, a God that lets all the suffering for no other reason happen in the world, and yet does nothing and claims to be morally superior above all of that. So, the conclusion we can draw from all of this is that if there is a God, he is morally flawed in a very fundamental way, and we should not tell the world about him, because telling the world about him would attract more followers and would attract a greater admiration of him as a divine entity. So, as a religious person, I'm quite ambivalent about whether or not we should tell the world about this, but as a professed atheist, it is absolutely clear we should support the side that is moral and the side which maximizes human happiness and minimizes human suffering.
Testing. Imagine that all choices that we make in our lives are subject to damning eternal consequences. They're so severe that the kind of real-world dilemmas or policy consequences that we face today seem like trivial child's play. Because above any real-world consequences, people are owed the agency to control their own fate, and whether or not to choose to subscribe to a belief system that dictates their afterlife, or at the very least, because they're so angry with God and what God made them do, at least recalibrate their minds in preparation of the potential consequences of not subscribing to this monotheistic value system. Now, since today's debate happens in a hypothetical reality, side opposition needs to question two very important things that will immeasurably affect all of the impacts of all of our arguments on both benches. Firstly, we want to question what is the nature of the irrefutable evidence, because we don't think we've heard enough characterization coming from the Prime Minister. And secondly, we want them to answer, which monotheistic religion does this God belong to? Because clearly the Prime Minister had clear markers of identity when he said, this God is very angry at certain kind of traits shown, like homosexuality. So clearly you have some kind of identifier to interact with the sentient beings, knowing what makes God angry or what makes God peace, because we need to have these answers in order to examine the extent of argumentation for both benches. Now let's look at the first question, the nature of evidence. We cannot accept that this is pure mathematical, ontological analysis, because any kind of residual evidence or phenomenon or miracle are not irrefutable in nature, because you cannot prove that the genesis of that phenomenon came from God. So the only way we can have an irrefutable proof that God exists is the nature of a clear sentient being that upon sight, people cannot deny the truth of his existence. We look into the question of the motion as well. It is a skeptic atheist who discovered this evidence. We don't think an angry skeptic atheist, like the one we heard from Prime Minister, will just accept whatever he sees. We believe there will be some level of interrogation and putting God accountable within those circumstances. Within that scenario, where there is interaction with this irrefutable evidence and the ability to present it to other people within society, so it's not just a mathematical analysis, how do you know that no organized religion accurately represents these values of God. You claim that God is evil. How do you know that the many interpretations of monotheistic religions that we have also have peaceful interpretations? In fact, the only commonality or primary component of religion in its number one genesis is often peace, often love, often tolerance. You don't know that this God will forcibly subscribe or oppress individuals. This God would also very easily reconcile the kind of differences, hatred, and evil that we see under status quo, because that would be a perpetuation of the evil of mankind, not the perpetuation of evil of the God and the religion that we subscribe to. So a lot of the harms that we heard coming from side government was convenient characterization that was presumptuous at best. We believe that we live in a world where God exists in irrefutable evidence. There is at least, even if not an active interaction, a credible avenue of more interaction for discovery as to which value system is the right and irrefutable value system that we can subscribe ourselves to. Secondly, once we put aside all the circumstantial harms that they presented in today's debate, they told you principally that we have a moral responsibility to help other people in society, and that outweighs the moral responsibility to help others as to whether or not you believe in religion. We have two responses. Firstly, that is categorically untrue in government, in law, and in society. We never impose any moral obligation on individuals to risk their own self-preservation for the benefit of other individuals. This is why, unless you consent to be put into situations of obligation, for example, if you're a soldier or if you're a politician, no person should be able to subject themselves to eternal damnation in order to help other people. But again, you assume that we will push forward for the oppression of more individuals. But secondly, this is not helping yourself. This is helping everybody else in society as well. You're the ones making a decision on behalf of the entirety of humanity to condemn them to potential consequences that are eternal in nature. If this is a monotheistic religion, all monotheistic religions or Abrahamic religion believe in the concept of heaven and hell. Or even if you don't agree with that, you believe in something, right? So in that value system, we need to allow people the ability to have agency in deciding what is their own faith. I'm going to talk a lot more about what this hypothetical work looks like in two arguments. First, I'm going to show you why this evidence will actually deconstruct a social order that is brimmed with religious division and radicalism, and therefore creating the very consequences of unity and helping people that they wanted to create. And secondly, I'm going to show you why the people of the world have a right to that information, because I'm a practicing Muslim in Ramadan. I want to know if I'm wasting my time by fasting. Alright, here.
You say God might be good. How could God be good if he allows for a worm to eat away at the eye of an innocent African child?
Look, text exists, interpretation also exists upon these texts. You don't know for sure which interpretation is correct. There are many prominent mainstream interpretations that propagates for tolerance, peace, and love. You cannot by nature make an arbitrary presumption upon all of religion and monotheistic interpretation that God is undeniably evil. That is at best something that you cannot reconcile on both sides. So you cannot base your entire case on the presumption of God's evilness. Let's look at three potential circumstances. Firstly, we think that this irrefutable evidence will erase the perpetual division between science and religion. Conservative religious groups on the ground are painting a narrative that science is defined as anti-religion. Why? Because we define atheism as the lack of scientific evidence that God exists. So that's why we create a lot of movements on the ground, like political pressure and defunding of research and development for valuable research, like stem cell research, because unnatural and ungodly. So we believe that once you have this scientific evidence that God exists, at the very least, science can be used as an avenue to forward religious interest. There's a potential avenue as well to discover what religion this God is from and therefore protect religious interest. Secondly, we think irrefutable evidence means that unity and assimilation of conflicting moral values are far more likely to happen. Because upon sight of irrefutable evidence, people are no longer fueled by blind faith. People are now fueled by the scientific evidence that God exists. We believe it's far more likely for them to be driven to subscribe to a singular moral value rather than fight for radicalist interests between each other. But thirdly, we think the root of radicalism is always in defense of righteousness. Especially in the modern context, with the largest religious radicalism in modern society is because of radicalism, which is a byproduct of oppression and religious deprivation. Religious communities are being affronted because their primary worldview is always being attacked as being untrue and unscientific. If we tell them that you no longer have to be morally defensive in securing your righteousness, there's no need to further go into radicalism. Lastly, people of the world have a right to that information. The world right now that we live in is temporary. If the monotheistic God does exist, and ethereal after all means you can face eternal damnation or eternal salvation. We are owed the chance to either reshape our moral values in subscription of the real religion, or at the very least, if you want eternal damnation, or you can choose to live your life freely in enjoyment of whatever temporary pleasures that we have in life. Mr. Speaker, there are many unanswered questions in today's debate. Therefore, we have to argue in a balance of probabilities. We don't think that government can get away by presuming the evil intentions of God and therefore the harmful consequences that everyone has to suffer from. But in fact, even if they were true, we've shown you concrete benefits and why this results in less radicalization, more unity, and more progression of advancement in science. We're very proud to oppose.
Tragically for the leader of the opposition, a worm eating the eye of an African child is not, as he suggests, a text to be interpreted. It is a fact about the world which you need to accommodate with your claim and our claim that God is all-powerful. We do categorically claim God is evil, God is twisted, God is malevolent, because He allowed for the Holocaust to happen. He allowed for men to be fucked up, because I think men are fucked up, as you know in the previous debate, right? If any God, which is all-powerful, and they agree with this, allows these things to happen, that was a conscious choice. We don't believe a twisted, malformed moral being is worthy of adulation, or that we should be taking any codes from this monster. Before I move on to my main point about how this actually strengthens religious opposition to science and strengthens our present religious states, some points of rebuttal. Number one, they say that we need to tell them what kind of God this is. And notice that so much of their arguments rely on assuming that this is a Judeo-Christian God, number one, and that our proof is scientific. I want to show you that this debate cannot be fairly had on these premises. Let me give you an example of a proof of God's existence, which does not at all endorse one particular vision of the God. This is the well-known ontological argument. It is 5 steps, but bear with me, it's kind of fun. Premise 1, by definition, God is a perfect being. In other words, a being for which no creator can be imagined. This is true by definition. Number 2, God can be imagined in the mind. Thank you. Number 3, if God exists in reality as well as in the mind, then God is an even greater being than the being we first imagined. In other words, we can imagine an even greater being. 4, this creates a contradiction to premise number 1. 5, by the law of non-contradiction, therefore God must exist not only in the mind, but in reality. Thank you. So we could give people this kind of proof. So if one saying we need to tell you it's like Allah, Yahweh, well no, sorry. So, secondly, we hear them saying that it's going to undermine the agency of individuals because people won't be able to choose. Number 1, we think the fundamental moral obligation any individual person has is to respect his or her own moral code. An atheist believes that God is evil. An atheist believes that any subscription to it necessarily degrades human agency and outsources your agency to someone else. But here are some more pragmatic reasons as to why we should not do this. Number 1, people are irrational and weak. Often people turn to God because they do not want to engage in deep self-reflection of what moral positions are axiomatic in their own form of life, because they do not want to grapple with difficult and intolerable questions. We believe that struggle has intrinsic value. We believe that's what creates morality that has real, genuine meaning, as opposed to some rules you heard from a priest who might or might not be lying for what he heard from God. Number 2, that people have a status quo bias. In other words, if you're a Muslim or if you're a Christian, your reaction to this would be, oh well, what if it's another God, right? People would prefer, due to cognitive dissonance and bias, to always reaffirm their pre-existing beliefs than believe in new ones. So when people are told that God exists, this is only seen as reaffirming one premise of their wholesale moral view, right? So if you happen to believe that gays are malformed and we're going to go to hell, this doesn't question that in any way. It just gives you one more reason to be extra confident in this particular view. Thank you. Thirdly, communal pressure and groupthink bias in religious communities already means that people are predisposed to accept that God exists and the traditional moral codes that flow from it. The idea we enforce agency by letting religious institutions and religious states coerce people even more is unacceptable. Lastly, they say, what if there's hell? Like, many religions don't think there is a hell, right? Like, some interpretations of Hinduism think that there's one fundamental God called Brahma, who's like reality itself. There is no hell, right? So it's unclear to me why we need to accept that interpretation. Secondly, under Catholicism, hell was often defined as the absence of God. It's just a world very much like this one. It's just that there is no godly present for us to revel in. So it's unclear why we need to accept that premise in order for us to have the rest of this debate.
Let's say God wants us to pray 5 times a day. In your world, God does exist, and if people don't do that, they spend eternity in damnation. Do you think it's more moral to tell people to not, spend eternity in damnation?
But here's the thing, given that we don't know which God this is, maybe if you do pray 5 times a day, the Christian God will put you in hell instead. Ooh, right? So given that so many different gods. Choosing to obey any one of them automatically sentences you for all the other monotheistic religions to a strict ticket to hell, even if we want to talk only about hell exactly. Also, no response whatsoever to Arthur's point that because God must be evil, the problem of evil and the problem of pain, we cannot obey whatever moral dictate there is. So even if God is going to send us to hell, Arthur explicitly said, morality is the fundamental, ultimate, normative guide to all action. Even if you're going to go to hell forever, I would say you have a moral obligation not to listen to a twisted and malformed God and to go to hell. That's what's morally necessary, even if it's inconvenient for you personally. Also, no response whatsoever to the fact that we gave you the paradox of God morality, right? Either God's arbitrarily defining morality, in which case you have to accept that if God said that we needed to murder all the Jews, we would have to do it. But this is an unthinkable conception of morality. Or option number 2, morality exists separate from God, and God's just telling us. In which case, all of this other stuff about how religious intermediaries are so old-fashioned, so not to be trusted, often pursue their own aims, means that we should be searching for this morality on our own, rather than relying on them. We have no response whatsoever to all this stuff. No, thank you. Engaging directly with the point which mine made, right, about how this reconciles differences between religion and science, and this will actually make people converge to a set of values. Firstly, it's unclear to me why people would choose to see this as a reconciliation, given that this debate is not premised on the existence of a scientific proof of God. That's the first premise which I do not think stands to begin with. But secondly, religious people in the status quo are given more ammunition with which to doubt science, right? Because in the status quo, we already see religious people saying things like, yes, you carbon dated those rocks like 7 billion years ago, but God could have made them a second ago and just made them look like they're 7 billion years. Now, the existence of God in no way undermines these other kinds of arguments, right? Because all these other arguments are unfalsifiable. They're all premised on the idea that because God is all-powerful, He could be faking everything, right? So all these arguments don't change in your world. All that changes is that you affirm one premise of these arguments, which is an all-powerful God exists. So you undermine scientific progress. I'd also like to point out, religious authorities and states, especially authoritarian ones, are probably going to use this for their benefit. Like, I think in Ireland, for instance, people would go, oh, God exists? Must be Allah. I don't think Saudi Arabia is going to, God exists? Might be Yahweh, right? I think religious authorities are going to cynically exploit this one scientific fact to reinforce the norms they have imposed in society, which, as Arthur suggests, are often anti-scientific and anti-progressive. They're anti-progressive specifically because religious authorities always need to make religion distinct from conventional progressive morality in order to ensure that their belief system is something unique to sell. And because those power structures, those oppressive or misogynistic power structures, themselves ensure that these religious leaders are put in place, and they have cynical reasons to ensure that those power structures remain. What does this mean? They really have not engaged at all with our core philosophical argumentation of why God must be evil and undeserving of respect. They do not win any of the arguments about bringing peace to the world or bringing more belief in science. For all these reasons, I'm very proud to propose.
Ladies and gentlemen, discussions of morality in of itself is purely constructed, arbitrary, and requires some subjective jiggery-pokery by human civilizations, ladies and gentlemen, in order to determine what we think is arbitrarily right or wrong. Which is why, screw that. We don't think that any individual has a monopoly over the construction of morality, or is even inherently even good to interrogate or think about morality. In the converse, is that we face some kind of repudiation by some ulterior higher power in this circumstance. Notice that our argument in regards to God's retaliation, why they get angry in each other, wasn't premised upon a Judeo-Christian definition on our part. It was based on Arthur's definition, when he told you apparently they showed some human characteristics, like getting angry at people. Like, for example, having some personal human characteristics, like retaliating against individuals in each other. You know what we can do upon getting evidence that God exists? We can test for what he gets angry about, whether or not he responds to certain stimuli. We can repeat those experimentations to determine new forms of morality in terms of constructing whether or not we should act in X way, Y way, do X thing, or not do Y thing. In those circumstances, those repeatable experimentation to the irrefutable evidence helps human civilization construct morality through the process of utility, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of being able to have full agency in deciding what you want under our side of the house. you hide away people's ability to make their decisions and further investigation of what makes this individual deity angry on the government bench, then you harm any ability or agency of any individual to actually create new forms of morality that pleases this God, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing I want to note is the nature of the evidence. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, do not let Ashish get away with ontological arguments using four-syllable words and pretending like it actually makes sense in this debate. The reason for that is because the reason a lot of you kind of tilted your head, and as I've noticed looking at this crowd when he was talking about it, is because that's not what irrefutable proofs are made of, ladies and gentlemen. That when you say, you believe, therefore you am, and if you don't believe, therefore the only logical proof is that you are, none of that makes sense. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that can be irrefutable proof is actual empirical data or empirical proof, hard proof, ladies and gentlemen, that proves that said deity exists. The reason why this is important and an actual deadlock in this debate is because whether or not we have the irrefutable evidence allows us to retest, allows us to interrogate, allows us to dig deeper, and in finding out that evidence, we also know the nature of said deity, how we came to find that deity, ladies and gentlemen, and whether or not we can replicate the evidence elsewhere. And therefore, that gives us an indication as to what that deity wants at the end of the day. That's why, if it is true that it is irrefutable evidence, you cannot let the government bench run away with this characterization. But thirdly, I think it's really important to note that whatever they've talked about in regards to nature being harsh, right? What about that African child that has a worm eating away at their eye? Ladies and gentlemen, this is an uncomparative characterization because it is also at the same time true that life is beautiful. It sounds cliche actually, but at the same time, the inability for absolutely anyone to exist, the void of non-existence, ladies and gentlemen, the inability to have the pleasure of actually existing in this point in time is in fact something that was only granted to us by said deity, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, there's even agency to make our lives better. The comparative, of course, is on that side of the house. That as a matter of utility, if it is true that God gets angry and has wrath and does things like flip over the earth, creates earthquakes and things like that, not following what God says creates net more pain in comparison to the African child getting the worm eating alive. God, it's really, really freaky. But at the same time, making God angry also means tsunamis, Noah's Ark, flipping of Lot, and like earthquakes and things like that. Are you willing to risk that net harm on that side of the house if God really does get angry and repudiates human beings, ladies and gentlemen, in comparison to the minimal amount of harm that's created under this side? Nature is harsh, but apparently on your side, God can be harsher. So if really God is the cruel child in the playground, the magnifying glass, and human civilization is under it on a really hot day in summer, then we think, then don't piss off the child, ladies and gentlemen. Don't make them more angry because that creates net more pain at the end of the day. You can argue and hypothesize about morality all you want, but more pain is a measurable yardstick as to how we can measure whether we make people's lives better or worse on the outside of the house. That's why don't be fooled by the principle wankery that happened on the government bench. Yes.
So you say that only empirical proof is unquestionable. Given that the philosophy of empiricism has been questioned and people have hallucinations all the time, as Richard Dawkins point out, are you giving us an impossible burden?
Absolutely not. You could argue this a million times, but you're also a speaker. I'm sure you can think of something better than this. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, the philosophy of empiricism doesn't mean anything, considering that all scientific phenomenon can be proven by replicable experimentation, evidence that something happened. If you want to prove that something exists, then you prove the existence of that thing, ladies and gentlemen. Really, that shouldn't be something that's so difficult to understand. But fundamentally, why is it important to study and assess whether or not this thing exists and what this thing responds to? Because utilizing what others said, that this thing gets angry and shares some anthropomorphic characteristics. If religious authorities, ladies and gentlemen, utilize this to abuse the system by saying, hey, wait, my God is the one that exists, this breaks that chain of authority that the religious authorities have in this system. Why so? Because the central premise of all religions that requires faith, which all other religious faiths stem from, is the existence of God. Once you've made the argument that the highest premise of that religion can be proven with science, can be proven with empirical data, can be proven with irrefutable proof and evidence, ladies and gentlemen, the subsequent step that everyone that believes in religion takes is the subsequent claim also provable? is the subsequent claim also provable by evidence and empirical data, ladies and gentlemen? So if a religious authority says, you need to kill the gays or kill the Jews, the next question that follows us is that I have proof that God exists. Now I can test whether what my religious leader says is true in this particular circumstance, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why we think that all the harms that came from the government bench were contingent upon you being able to maneuver around all these harms when God was going to exist and harm human society anyway, and inflict all the things that they were unhappy about without giving individuals on the ground an ability to choose, an ability to take control, an ability to interrogate further that evidence, be able to take control of their destiny, avoid more net pain, and increase the utility of their life. We can gamble all we want with morality, ladies and gentlemen, but we would rather not put people through unnecessary suffering. Give people their agency and choice. Thank you.
There's one thing we can be sure of. We live in a world where there is infinite pain and infinite suffering, and a world where people have endured things that we can only imagine what they went through. Irrespective of what God is, the one that supposedly exists, we think that God is abhorrent, and we wildly support the claim that we shouldn't encourage people to believe in that God. 3 points of rebuttal before going into the clash. The first is, we hear from Myth that we don't have a monopoly on our side of the house on what is morality. We agree. That's what we get in the status quo, right? If we don't tell people about this proof, we continue to have debates about what morality is within religions, within different religions, and religion against non-religion. We support that because we support the idea that you can justify to people that the reason we shouldn't harm people is not because there's a book that tells you we shouldn't harm people, but because it hurts when you harm someone, right? And that's wrong, because there's someone who suffers from pain, who has feelings, and has a desire to live without pain in the same way you do. That doesn't require a religious justification, right? But to the extent it does, we get the debate they want on our side. The problem on their side of the house is you automatically get rid of, for example, any atheist critique, as Arthur tells you, which goes unresponded to, right? You get rid of those critiques immediately. Moreover, you don't get what they say, which is this weird idea of all religions, even though they all currently have different religions, and are now just going to acknowledge as one true religion. We think that's probably not going to happen, given that they've held these beliefs for literally centuries, and their ancestors have done. And therefore, they could just continue to have a more narrow debate on morality, which is harmful. The second point that we hear is that apparently we can, if you give people this information, we can then, then look out for stimuli to work out what God thinks of what we're doing. I'm going to posit that it becomes very difficult to identify what the independent variable is, right? Why? Because at any moment in time, there are an infinite number of actions being done by literally billions of people. Therefore, if there is this massive thunderstorm, I don't know if that's because I've sworn at Ashish, or because Myths made a bad point, or someone's done something actually horrific somewhere else, right? No examples or analysis to suggest that the opposite would be true. Moreover, let's be fair, right? Let's say for some reason that this proof says that, for some reason that even though the CA team have not suggested anything along these lines, look out for the following signal, and that tells you what you've done is wrong, right? Even in those scenarios, different religions are going to dispute whether or not it's there, what that interpretation is, right? And different religions are going to say, no, actually, what it means is X rather than Y. It still doesn't achieve what they want to achieve. No, thank you. Just to deal finally, completely with this irrefutable proof claim, right? I've got to be honest, I'm very disappointed that we, in the Gov Whip, are still having to explain that, we don't need to tell you what this proof says, because we don't know, right? But what we do know is what it says in the info slide, which is it's infallible. That's all we can claim. They claim, however, that this means that it has to be empirical. No, as we point out throughout our speech, right? Speeches, empirical evidence itself can be disputed. You can dispute logic, you can dispute induction. That's why there are other chains of thought which have existed and continue to exist, right? Moreover, we suggest that that even if it, for example, says that mentions like Jesus, say, in this proof, Jesus exists in the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah, so it doesn't necessarily help you in identifying one religion. If the CA team wanted us to talk about one religion, they would have specified it, right? That's the end of that issue as far as we're concerned, right? First point of clash then. What are our individual duties? They acknowledge that we have a duty to help people. They just say that actually that it's more important to give people this information because it may help them. What we say is that when we look around the world and see how people actually use this information and the kinds of harms it would accrue, which Arthur in particular talks about in terms of like disputes between religions, and then Ashish talks about how like individual religions using this to consolidate their own power and push away other religions. There's no way in hell that we're going to publish this information, especially because the God we know is evil, right? As Ashish very clearly explains, the distinction is not interpretation of text, but rather look around, right? To the extent that we live in a world which God created, why has He created one where such evil can occur? The response we get in the previous speech, by the way, is quite frankly ridiculous. There are two responses we get.
Stephen.
The first response, right, we get is the following. It's, but God created you, and therefore, you're still better being off created than not being created.
Stephen.
We posit that just because your parents give birth to you doesn't mean that it legitimizes them abusing you, and we think that's exactly the same here. In fact, we think it's even worse than that, because if God is all-powerful, which they are, they could have created humans in a way which prevent them from committing evil acts.
Stephen.
That's what Arthur tells you, we get no response from it. The second claim we get is you should just be grateful you're alive, right? No, we're not just grateful we're alive. We expect a higher standard from this God that we're supposedly going to tell the rest of the world about. The final response we get, and I quite like this one, right? I want to deal with this in a bit more detail, comes out at the start, which is you could be causing us, as the actor, internal damnation, right? Because you're not telling people about God, and God will criticize you for it. First response, if God wanted everyone to know, He'd tell them. Right? Nothing on their side of the house to suggest that isn't the case, right? Second and less glib, but unfortunately less true for them, response is that I am more than happy to justify to this God, if it comes to a judgment day and there is like an afterlife, why I didn't tell people. I would give the reasons that Arthur and Ashish and I have given, and I'd probably have a bit more time to prepare them as well. If God subsequently says, I'm sorry, but you're still going to hell, I'll take that hit, because it's from this point of view, where I am at the moment, it was the correct decision to make, right? Because of the harms that could occur. Yes, I'll take it.
Look, so the only general response you give us is that religions will misinterpret the indicators of pain or wrath of God that we give anyway, but it's significantly more clarity than we have on the comparative. So net utility or net pain, don't you create more probability of infuriating God, creating more pain? Can you actually compare the amount of pain it's created?
Well, we've compared about the amount of things we've created throughout, right? Like, the bag was probably through the POI. We say two things on that, right? The first thing, like I said, to the extent that you think that God's going to be so angry we've not told everyone and is going to punish everyone else, if that were the case, it would have just told everyone anyway, right? Second thing we say is we've given you lots of arguments to suggest that if we tell people and tell everyone, there is going to be more harm. That's what can be weighed up in this round, not your claim that God is going to act in a particular way or not, right? So why is it then that religious morality is so bad? We've already covered the problem of evil, the problem of pain, we've got no responses which were legit to that, dealt with the ones we did get. But moreover, we say that necessarily religious identity and morality operate oppositional, right? It necessarily says that you have to believe what we believe. If you don't believe what we believe, you're wrong. We say that we'd rather people just stuck to like an atheist position, right? Well, as I discussed in my introduction, you shouldn't be mean to people, not because someone tells you not to, but because it's wrong, right? It's wrong because it harms others and it hurts them in a way that would hurt you as well. At the end of this debate, we need to ask ourselves, realistically, what would happen if people knew there was a God and they didn't know which God it was, or they knew which God it was? We say in either of those scenarios, the world would be worse off, and therefore we couldn't be prouder to propose.
You hear me? I'll take that as yes. Panel of adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen, like Arthur, I would like to quote one of my favorite atheist writers, Christopher Hitchens. When he was asked in a BBC interview, what would you answer to God if you died and met him at the gates of heaven? And he asked, why did you not believe? Christopher Hitchens answered, sorry God, I didn't enough evidence. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we do have that evidence. But unfortunately, in your world, that answer is no longer plausible. What we believe, the two things I'm going to do in my speech today is two things. Just firstly, I want to umpire this debate. I'm going to tell you all the unfair stuff that government side are doing and all ridiculous assertions that they make and the false tensions in their case. And then I'm going to go on to talk about two things. First, on the idea of evil and morality. If God is real and God is evil, why should we still submit to him or her or it? And secondly, I want to talk about morality. But first, so interestingly enough, government side from Arthur's speech claims to have no position, no knowledge of what this God is, what its qualities are, what their morality and values look like, but at the same time making arguments based on concrete premises like God orchestrated natural disasters, God didn't intervene during the Holocaust, God designed AIDS, cancer, and Tay-Sachs disease. Because hey, you can't have it both ways. You can't not know God's identity or understand its sentience, but at the same time saying that God did all those things because God might be a deist. That means God might have been a prime mover of the universe, orchestrated the Big Bang, sat back and did nothing, and never intervened and never answered prayers. Or God could have created the world, sent prophecies to Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, and then chose to retire a millennium ago. Or God could be all the bad things that they do. So my question is, how can you say that God is evil, or God did orchestrate all these horrible things, when God could be either one of that? Let's use the principle of sufficient reason. Ask yourself, if they take that position, why is there no other reason to take any other position? And the answer is, there is. There can be. There can be a possibility that God just orchestrated the world and can't do anything about it, right? We don't know. So you can't make those premises either. Either you provide us with a God and tell us what we're debating about, or don't make those claims. Second, government side of this debate refers to just like shut their eyes and pretend nothing exists and nothing is real. That they accept that God is real and evil, but they want to prefer to live in a life where they judge morality based on the real world and the human intellect. Well, sorry guys, get off your high horse. If God is really evil and greedy and a bully and loves to enslave its human race, that means that there are some things that we're doing that God doesn't like, or that we're not doing things that God wants us to do. If you guys were the atheists who found this evidence, you're condemning the rest of us in this room to eternal brimstone and hellfire because we have no idea what God wants to do. And in fact, you're going to have eternal damnation as well. So don't talk to me about morality. Don't talk to me about, morality is how we should judge life. And then come up in the opposite speech to say, hey, I'll take hell any day. That's ridiculous. That's not a decision you have a right to make for everyone else, ladies and gentlemen. If you think about it, they're literally playing God. If they claim that God is evil, and God is greedy, and that God subjugates us to things that we don't like, the fact that they have knowledge of that existence and not tell it to us, they themselves are replicating the very sentient being that they claim to hate and defect from. That is completely immoral. You've lost the moral high ground. Next, how about evidence? Look, now we told you that there's a great chance that we know what this God wants, or at least we can test what this God wants. Because think about it, right? And this is completely ridiculous from the Gov side. They said, it could be like a thought experiment. It could be like a mathematical equation. Would any of you believe me if I told you that God exists and asked you to go through a thought experiment? Obviously not, because you didn't believe Ashish. And you're not going to believe me if I show you a mathematical equation. In order to think about it, this person is an atheist. That means a complete skeptic. A professed atheist, which means he knows for sure that God does not exist. Do you think an atheist meeting the so-called God would have said, hey, why are you so bad? Hey, tell me who's going to win WDC this year? No, an atheist would ask a million questions to this God to ensure that it was the real God. And more importantly, the atheist had to have known sentience. This can't just be a mathematical equation. It can't just be like dark matter, the God particle, or some sort of residue in particle physics. It had to have been sentience. That's the only way this atheist would have been persuaded, right? And this must be proof that we can show other people too, right? So there must be a medium for us to at least communicate or at least experiment what God wants and does not want. So if you claim that there are a million things that people can misinterpret, that science is going to be defeated in the face of the existence of God, I don't think so. You know what I think would happen? The Catholic Church, the Muslims, Jews would be knocking on the doors of the research center in Switzerland, asking to use their dark particle machine and try to see if God actually can communicate through prayers. I really think that's what's going to happen, because there must be a way to test it. You can't just have proof and then not be able to test that proof, right? It's just illogical. But lastly, on the side of evil. Okay, I absolutely agree. If it is true that God is real and God is evil, let's take the best case scenario. God is evil, God's horrible. God orchestrates disease. God puts Tay-Sachs disease into kids and slowly allows it to debilitate and deteriorate their bodies. But, ladies and gentlemen, we must see the long term of this. We must look at the economics of suffering. If these individuals, and I'm not saying that it's okay that they're suffering, I'm not saying I accept all these terrible things, but if it is true that they do suffer, there must be ways in which we can ensure them eternal safe haven. If young children are dying in war zones, but if it is true that if they just say a prayer at night, that they can somehow go to heaven and enjoy the rest of eternity. The rest of eternity juxtaposed with a small period of time, relatively, right? Even if you live up to 100 years old, that is a short amount of time for you to be suffering. But with the knowledge that you could somehow please God to gain eternal, to avoid eternal damnation, that's wonderful. But hey, even if God must be evil, that's a reality that we have to face. Human beings are not devoid of moral conundrums as well. We created artificial intelligence and we regularly throw viruses into those artificial intelligences, making them panic and emotionally suffer in order for us to test things like antivirus applications and software. We put diseases into animals. We give rats cancer and diabetes so we can test the efficacy of these preventive drugs. We put children in classrooms, brainwash them with nationalist propaganda. Who knows what is real? We all exist in an existential hierarchy, and it just so happens that there's someone above us. We're not devoid of moral quandaries, ladies and gentlemen, but now we have to accept it. It is true. Life is a lie, that we are slaves, that we are living in some sort of computer simulation, and we need to completely recalibrate what it means to be alive. We must serve our Creator. There are others below us. We are simply in the food chain of life. We exist in the hierarchy. We're not at the top. Life is a lie, but vote for opposition.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to the start of this debate. If you listen to the Prime Minister's speech, they give you several characteristics of God. That they are all-powerful, that they are omnipresent, omniscient, share some anthropomorphic characteristics like sometimes potentially being angry, ladies and gentlemen. So why is it that we cannot believe that this information is derived from ontological reasoning, mathematical equation, and we are unable to obtain any other information aside from this, like for example, testing of the stimuli or things like that? Because primarily, ladies and gentlemen, many of the questions of this debate rely on this part of characterization of God. In order to know whether or not you're omnipowerful, you need to test the extent of power, whether or not they were omniscient and all-knowing, you have to test the extent of knowledge, whether it was a creator rather than just a natural Big Bang. You would have to test for will and sentience in this particular circumstance. The leader of opposition in this debate was quite clear that provided all the evidence that apparently was created as a result of Arthur's speech, there was absolutely no logical way you could conclude that we could test for all these things merely out of ontological reasoning by definition, which is an argument that is debatable, therefore not irrefutable. Or secondly, a mathematical equation which I literally cannot fathom how a mathematical equation is able to measure all those things, especially things like sentience, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, logically speaking, it is impossible that that is how you get that evidence, and that evidence must be empirical, testable, replicable, experimentable, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, people will be able to test it out in the future. That's why our arguments were incredibly important. Based on their own characterization of God, not ours, not a Judeo-Christian God, ladies and gentlemen. We said that because God apparently was retaliatory and angry, that was net better for human beings, even if we live this meaningful life in slavery, to not create net more pain for individuals. That we could create tests for that stimuli. The only response came from Stephen's speech when he told us that, well, anyway, like religious organizations were going to misinterpret this anyway. And if you look back and notice that really is the only response that he gave us. Was that enough? Because I even gave him an opportunity to respond in the POI, and he just glibly brushed it off in this debate. When we already told you that there is significantly more clarity that we will get in terms of God's intentions in comparison to the government bench, and save people a significant, comparatively more amount of pain under our side of the house. So as much, if we take the worst case scenario of the government bench, let's say, yes, nature is harsh, life sucks. But if there is someone that can make it worse for individuals, ladies and gentlemen, because as Arthur says, God is angry, God is retaliatory, then you are creating worse lives if people are ignorant and make that person more angry at the end of the day. How you create less harm or how you create less pain, ladies and gentlemen, is a question they never answered at Saras. They told us that we need to reflect on morality. We should not cause someone pain because it hurts that it causes someone pain. Now that we know that, what causes more pain? Which is someone creating a tsunami, someone creating an earthquake, God literally harming individuals because it can release them, or taking control and preventing that from happening. There was no inherent value in the reflection of morality that they want to talk about, but there was an objective value in the prevention of pain, because finally that was the end point that Stephen wanted anyway, which is don't hurt people because it hurts, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we want that comparative. We told you why we undercut the fundamental premise of religious organizations. If one thing was based on evidential proof that we could prove, then Mai also told you that other things become a synergy between religion and science, be able to be proven as well. That people need to recalibrate their life. That people could make decisions. If it really doesn't happen in hell, who knows, right? That a gay person who would have gone to hell anyway, if that person who would have gone to hell, will be able to say, I don't want to limit my life right now anyway and not waste my life moving forward. We've dealt with all the circumstances despite the shifting context of the government bench, playing on the ambiguity that the motion provides for them, and we've actually provided you a fairness in this debate. Thank you very much.
Okay, right, so the motion contains the word God. It doesn't say which God, so we need to define a God. And it doesn't specify which God. What we thought was, okay, we'll specify some general characteristics of God, which almost every single religion and every average reasonable person would think that God would have. Like, for instance, a lot of power. Or we won't tell you this is Allah or Yahweh or Brahma. Apparently, for the opposition, this is a huge contradiction, because we gave some characteristics of God, but didn't specify which God. To be honest, I honestly think there's a middle ground we can adopt, which is look at what most religions say, or the vast majority of religions say, which is God is extremely powerful at the very least, and tells us what morality is, but not tell you which God it is, right? So I think this whole attempt to get us into contradiction, like, ooh, your argument for evil doesn't work, because maybe God's weak, you can't control what happens in the world. Maybe you could have made an argument at first, or given it as a definitional challenge, honestly, but I don't think you can try and radically recharacterize God to the point of nothingness in the third opposition speech. I think that's unfair in this debate. So let's talk about the two main issues. The first issue was suffering, and no, we actually explicitly said this issue was secondary to others, and the second one is a problem of evil and morality. First was suffering. We told you that the ultimate normative obligation of any human being is to be moral. That is to say, even if being moral puts you in conflict with a malicious God, you should be moral. Even if you go to hell forever, you should be moral. This was made very explicit in Arthur's speech and in my speech. No, they never offered a response, right? Mifzal's response was say, but your whip said, like, pain is bad because it's pain. But that was just an example of the kind of argument we could make without relying on God. It wasn't our actual stance. Secondly, he said we want to protect people from damnation. This is problematic. Number one, it assumes that we know which God it is, right? Because choosing the wrong God presumably automatically also condemns you to hell straight away. In fact, it might be even more automatic condemnation than if you just said, I don't know. And again, they try to get around this by saying, but your proof needs to tell you what kind of God it is. Now, honestly, and here it was really quite confusing. We gave him an example of proof that was inherently logical. Mills' response was, well, I don't get it. We said, okay, given empiricism itself can be doubted, what kind of proof do you want us to provide? Mills' response was, you're the world number one. It's not enough to figure it out. My only observation is that none of these are logical responses to the actual arguments we made about why we cannot specify what kind of proof it is. We're going to argue from minimalist premises in this debate, because that seems to be what's reasonable when we do this activity called debating. Stephen also points out that even if you aren't told of this proof and you go to hell forever, You still have to defend when you come before God. You can always say, you know what, like, I wasn't told of your existence, it isn't my fault, right? He points out even within the religious framework, they might get exculpatory clauses available to you. The other argument to make is that maybe we can figure out what God's intentions are by looking at storms. But how do we know which storm is caused by God? The point is the world looks exactly the same as it did before, except now we know that some things are signs and some things are not. But this is what all religions have been saying all the time anyway. It's unclear why it makes it clearer for religions, now that they know that there is a God, what things should they look out for. So I don't think the argument was comparative, again as Steve points out. Secondly, therefore, the more important issue of morality, is God evil and twisted? We first pointed out that the amount of evil and suffering in the world means that God cannot possibly be all benevolent or perfect as a source of moral authority, not least because of flawed intermediaries. The first response he got was, God created you. Steve points out that means a parent has the right to abuse children, so he dropped that response. Then moved on to say, well, maybe God isn't omnipotent. I'm pointing out that's kind of weird shift to do with third. Last thing he says, maybe the dying child can just say a prayer if he likes leaving to death in Aleppo. To which, Arthur already acknowledged this by saying the problem is not that there are ways out, the problem is why there is evil in the world to begin with. If God was to be infallible as a moral authority, then there would be no evil to begin with. So the fact that some evil exists means that God cannot be trusted as a source of evil. So I think that very basic logic was never really engaged with on their side, right? So, at the end of the day, what were the two key tactics that opposition had to win? One was sort of like challenging the definition of God being omnipotent and third, and the other was saying that our proof, despite nothing in the motion saying we need to do this, telling you which particular God it is. Those are tricks which are unnecessary for you to win a debate of this quality, and that's why I think this debate goes to proposition.
Please give a big hand to both teams again. And now, let me introduce the guest of honor for today's award presentation, Mr. Paul. Please come. Paul is the Dean of Students